Hi, Brandon. Following up on our asset provisioning strategies that are available in this system. Uh, Coming back to asset provisioning tab, and from my genome library, the custom genome library that I have, I will select what's one server just for testing it out to show you how it works. Select the server, and as you can see, the criteria for this server, the requirement for installations are here. If I leave it the way it is, redundancy 2N, you will see a bunch of racks that are green. So if I select a green rack, it basically tells me everything that is here. All these criteria or the requirement for the installations are green. But each one of these criterias, if I select them individually, they can be in two states. So the information related to this criteria is right here. So if, for example, I have that server selected, bunch of the racks shows green, but if I switch from redundancy of 2n to n+1, one of these criteria turn yellow. When this turns yellow, if you look at here, it does not mean that there is no redundancy available for that server in this particular rack. What that means is that the rack actually has a better redundancy than the server requirement. That means that you are not limited to install this server here, but just for you to know that there is a better redundancy available. So better redundancy meaning that each one of these rack mount, obviously, each one of these rack mounted PDUs independently can handle the load. So if I switch back to 2n redundancy for this server, you will notice that that rack turned green, and the system tells me that everything required for this server is available in this rack. And for any other situation, like for example, if one of these equipment's watts per U height that we tested out during the POC session was yellow. So if I select this, the yellow status for this means that if you fill up the rack, if a rack is yellow for this particular dial or for this particular criteria, if that is yellow, what it means is that if you fill up the rack, if you fill up the entire rack with that specific or that selected server, you will not have the U space corresponding to the wattage necessary for all those servers to be fed. So that's the whole idea. So basically, if I select another server, for example, in this case, this server with 2n redundancy, I do not have enough power in most of my systems. But if I select one rack, that shows me that the redundancy, again, like we did it previously, it shows me that the redundancy in the rack is better than the redundancy that the server is requiring. So this should not be a limitation for you to place a server in that rack position. Hopefully that gives you a better understanding. Thank you.